Do I even want to focus on Miho's relationship? I was so invested in what was going on with Lena and Cyrus, I kind of just put it on the back burner, and I was just so focused on developing a relationship with Lena and seeing what happened with her and Cyrus. But hopefully this episode will move back to Miho and either developing a relationship with Aspen or Juliet. I still haven't branched off to decide which one I want to go with. Hopefully we'll see that soon. Anyways, after another day spent entertaining myself around town, I decided to take Aspen's advice and ask Juliet about a TV. It might be good for us to learn a little bit about, society and culture through TV. I feel like we don't know too much, and apparently we saw the moon landing, so there were some funny moments last episode for sure. The light is on in Juliet's study, meaning she's in there. I knock on the door and get an instant response.
Come in.
Alright, don't mind if I do. The study hasn't changed at all since I was here a couple days ago, except that there aren't any bats in the corner this time. It's just me and her.
Hi.
Good evening, Miho. What brings you here?
I'm hungry. I'm a little bit worried about how to do this. Usually I just take something I want. Lately I've started saying yes when people offer me things, but going in and just asking for something? Well, I'll have to do it sometime.
I had a question. Yesterday, Aspen said I should ask about getting a TV in my room. That way, I'd have something to do.
Oh, that is a good idea. I take it today wasn't particularly exciting either.
Not really. It was fine. Nothing bad happened. I'm just...
Yeah, don't lie, Miho. We had an awesome time going and planting trees and trying to play Cupid. I don't want to say I'm bored, but she thinks I'm blaming her or ungrateful. I bite my lip trying to think of a better way to put it, but she seems to read my mind.
Bored? It's all right, you can say it. An empty room would be boring for anyone.
Yeah, it's not like she can read. She can't read a book. So, you're pretty limited on what you can do.
I believe there should be a television somewhere around. Let's take a look.
I follow behind her out of the office. Juliet takes me down one of the hallways I've never been down, and where I don't think I've seen the lights turned on, we pass by several doors.
What are all these rooms?
They've been all kinds of things over the years. Bedrooms, studies, playrooms. But now they're mostly just storage.
Fair enough. Seems kind of lonely, though. We stop in front of one door, indistinguishable from the rest.
I believe this is the one.
It's not locked. Juliet just opens it normally. Inside is dark and dusty, the windows covered with heavy curtains that don't let any light in. In other words, what you'd expect from a vampire's house. There's tons of junk leaning against the walls, like some faded bicycles and a dresser that's missing a drawer. Oh, excuse me.
Ah, there it is.
Juliet points and I see what she's looking at. There's a TV in one corner with its cords wrapped around itself in a thick blanket of dust. We both walk over and I wipe some of the dust away. It immediately blows into my face.
Miho, are you alright?
I'm glad I'm not the only one that's been having some interesting dialogue today. I had like a burp coming up and I was like trying to talk when I'm doing the video, and that's what happened a second ago. I hate that. I don't know why, like when I talk for a while or if I drink water, it makes me like want to do like a small burp, and I have to suppress those, and it's very hard when I'm trying to talk and I'm saying words, Still, I back a few steps away.
As you can tell, it's been a while since I've come in here.
Clearly. Much more carefully than me, Juliet cleans off the TV.
I believe it should still work, though.
Okay, I can move it to my room then.
It's alright. I can take it.
Wonder if being a vampire she has like super strength or something. I mean, I kind of use Twilight as my baseline for anything that involves vampires. I know that's terrible, but growing up, I mean, I kind of liked Twilight, and then my wife really likes Twilight, so it's probably the most vampire show I've ever seen. So Juliet effortlessly lifts the TV up and begins to carry it to my room. Okay, yeah, she's definitely stronger than the average person, that's for sure. I know from plenty of experience that TVs aren't exactly easy to lift.
I need to remind myself to never piss her off.
Honestly, I'd be more worried about Aspen. Aspen seems like she's got a little bit of an attitude. She's kind of moody sometimes. I hurry after her, arriving at the room just as she sets the TV down in the corner and plugs it in.
Let's see.
She presses the power button with a soft buzz. It comes to life.
It works!
Indeed. I'm relieved.
So I wonder what we're gonna watch on it. I mean, is there cable, or are we gonna have to like find some DVDs? Because we're gonna need a DVD player if that's the case.
Let me try to remember how to use it.
Ooh, or it might be one of those TVs that has the VHS player built in. If you guys remember those. Hopefully I'm not making myself sound really old right now when I'm saying VHS. I feel like some kids don't know what that is nowadays. Kind of slow, but she manages to explain all the different buttons and what they do and how to use the remote. It doesn't seem that complicated, but also, I never learned how to do it either. Once we make sure it's not going to die or anything, Juliet leaves me on my own with it. I change through the channels, getting an idea for what there is. Oh, maybe it has like a built-in TV tuner? There are some channels with cartoons, which I know are meant for kids, and there's also some shows with real people in them, but they don't make much sense to me. Maybe I watched them from the beginning. There are also plenty of ads. I recognize more products than I do shows. This probably has something to do with my lifestyle than anything else, though. Ooh. My wife just brought me this. I don't know if you guys can really see it. I don't want to spill it all over, but I'm glad they sip on this. That's good. Even flipping through stations constantly, I do find myself having much more fun than if I was just napping or walking around. I see why some humans do this all day. Yeah, that's my mom. My mom has like a whole bunch of like health conditions and things like that, and she's like kind of disabled almost. So that's most of her day. It's just kind of watching murder mysteries of all things. I'm like, why do people enjoy this? Why do people like watching other people dying, you know? Could not be me. I only like wholesome visual novels. Of course, this is the only kind I play. Eventually I go back to one of the cartoon channels. Even if they're for kids, they're easier to follow along with. I pick up one and leave it running, climbing into bed to watch. I end up spending a few hours watching until I fall asleep that night. Having something else to follow along with, I think about it now, is a nice distraction from having my own doubts and worries creep up on me. If this is what a normal life is like, then maybe it's something I can get used to after all. Okay. You already know where I'm going. I don't need to tell you guys. Going to the park. I need to know. I need to know. This whole novel has been taken over. It's no longer about Miho anymore. During a conversation with Aspen, she told me about what Lena's next adventure would be, an outdoor painting class. When that time rolls around, I decide to go check it out. Just like the other activities I tried with Lena, it'll be happening in the park. When I arrive, I don't even have to look around. The class is right next to the entrance. The group is bigger than the ones for tennis and tree planting. Everyone has a big canvas on a stand in front of them, and there are a bunch of paints and brushes in the middle. Lena's easy to find like always, and I see Cyrus on the other side of the crowd, away from her. Seems like he's not the one in charge today. A friendly person in a paint-stained apron sees me arrive and helps me choose a canvas and some art supplies, and then sends me to find a spot. Naturally, I head over to where Lena is. That's really neat, that you can just show up and they have a bunch of art supplies for you to use. I think that's really, really cool.
Hey, mind if I set up here?
Not something I feel like I would see in a lot of places. Maybe New Zealand's just better.
Oh, sure. Are you new here?
Yeah, this is my first time painting.
Gosh, this coffee is like so creamy.
Me too. Wanna have a Actually, maybe you shouldn't race when you're painting.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Painting is about feeling and kind of taking your time. Well, I don't know who the hell I am to say anything about painting. I don't paint, but I would imagine it's not something you rush unless you're into speed painting. That is a thing, right? Take a peek at what Lena's been working on. It doesn't seem like there's a particular topic, so everyone's painting is different. Gosh, my phone was like blowing up. I was like, what the heck's happening there? Doesn't seem like there's a particular topic, so everyone's painting is different. Lena's painting a picture of a young swan with a pink flower on its head. It's surprisingly great.
This is amazing for your first time.
You think so? I mean, of course it is.
Okay, you can still be humble, Lena.
What are you gonna paint?
yet. Let's see.
I could probably paint a stick figure. That's probably the best I could do, guys. Oh, I'm sorry. There are a bunch of different sized brushes and a variety of colors. Having so many options to choose from makes it harder, not easier to decide. Maybe I should go for something simple, like a tree. Choosing a brush in a shade of brown, I get to work.
Alright, everyone. Warm-up's over. Go ahead and find a partner. We're going to work on portraits today.
Ooh, portraits, the thing I'm worst at. I am terrible when it comes to painting actual people. I remember 4th grade, we had to do a portrait of ourselves. And I remember I just struggled with it so badly that I literally ran out of the classroom crying. I know that sounds really bad, but I just was like, I don't know, I get frustrated when I can't do something. And especially when I was younger. And I don't know, I just couldn't do it, and it frustrated me. And so I kind of just ran out of the classroom and cried. It was one of those outside classrooms, if you guys have ever had that, where they're kind of like these temporary ones, but they kind of just stayed there forever. That's what it was in. So I ran outside, and the teacher came out and talked to me, and it made me feel better. So that was really nice of her. My tree is mostly done by now. It's not very detailed, and it doesn't look like any trees I've ever seen in real life. That's okay. But at least I can tell what it's supposed to be. When the instructor says to choose a partner, I instinctively turn to Lena, preparing to ask her, but of course she's overlooking at Cyrus's attraction. Yeah, shocker. I sigh to myself.
You should go ask him before he ends up with someone else.
It'll mean I have to partner up with a stranger, but as far as Lena's concerned, she and I are already strangers, so it shouldn't make that much of a difference. Lena jumps in shock.
Whoa, are you a mind reader?
Not exactly.
Something like that.
That's so cool. You're right, though. But what if he says no?
I mean, that's the worst he can say is no, right? You might as
And
well.
he says no, I guess. Nothing would have changed, right?
She taps her chin.
You know, you kind of remind me of someone I work with. Anyway, wish me luck.
Good luck.
Alright, have fun. Freaking lovebirds. That's what I'm here for anyways. I don't care about painting. I'm here to see how your relationship goes. Even though you don't remember me. Which is kind of sad. I would love to talk to you about it, but... Watch as Lena goes up to Cyrus and talks to him. Too far away for me to hear. I guess it must work out because they soon set up their canvases facing each other. Oh, okay. Unfortunately, watching them means I missed out on my chance to find a partner. When I look around, everyone else is matched up with someone. Honestly, I think some of the best visual novels is where you have other romances blooming. And I find that even in Korean dramas too. They always have these kind of side romances, and I'm more invested in the side romance than I am the actual romance at some point, because the side romances seem to progress further and faster than the actual main character's romance. So, sometimes it's nice to have that to look forward to while you're kind of waiting for the main character, in this case Miho, to kind of advance with somebody, It's more than fine with me, but unfortunately, the instructor comes over and invites me to partner up with her, which I grudgingly accept. For the next little while, I struggle to make something that resembles the woman across from me. This would be a lot easier if she looked like a tree. Yeah, I bet that would, but so far we haven't seen any ents. I would imagine that might possibly be a thing in this. There's fable, there might be ents, there's mermaids, so why not an ent, After 10 or 15 minutes, she claps her hands to get everyone's attention.
Time to change things up. Show your partners what you made, and then go find a new partner.
Gosh, we only had 10 to 15 minutes to make a portrait of somebody? I mean, like I said, I could probably do a stick figure in that amount of time. Definitely for sure. Well, everyone gets to that. She brings her canvas over to show me.
Whoa.
It's definitely me. My tail is fluffier in real life, and my ears aren't that big, I can still recognize myself.
Mine's not even close to that good.
I turn around the camera so she can see the results. Compared to the paintings she made, I'm kind of embarrassed to stare. Still, she smiles at it.
I think it's lovely. Painting is like anything else. The more you do it, the more you improve. And I've been doing it for a long time. We all have to start somewhere, though.
Yeah, I think it's okay when you're first starting something to not be the greatest at it, right? I feel like the people that are really good at something have developed that over time. There's a few people who can kind of just be talented right off the get-go, I think my cousin was kind of like that. He never really like practiced piano much, but like he could like hear like a melody or something and he could repeat it on the piano. Like I don't know how you do that. The moment the instructor and I are done talking, someone taps me on the shoulder. I turn around to see Lena.
Hey, let's be partners.
Okay,
Sure.
perfect. Secretly, I think to myself about how I'm gonna get paired up with another good artist. The instructor blows a whistle to signal the start, and Lena and I both get to work.
So, how'd it go?
How'd what go?
I know she can't have forgotten me that quickly.
Talking to Cyrus.
Yeah, the thing I wanted to come here to do. It's the only reason I came to the park.
Oh, that.
Uh-oh. I don't know if that sounds good, guys. I think that didn't sound very reassuring. Using a few shades of pink and white, I managed to paint something that looks passably close to Lena's clothes, if I squinted a little at least.
I got too nervous to really say much, so we just painted each other until it was time to switch.
Lena, I can't keep coming to the park. You gotta work on this. Get it done. In the middle of a brush stroke, Lena suddenly drops her brush in horror.
Oh no! What if he thinks I'm boring?
I don't think anyone could think that about you.
I mean, Lena's probably the most excitable character that we've met so far.
Yeah, but what if he does?
Tommy may be being a competitor. I feel like Tommy might be pretty ecstatic too. I don't think anyone can think that about you.
This is not good!
I don't know. We'll talk to him more then. Show some interest. I mean, clearly you like him. I think he notices that, but you gotta talk to him, have some conversation, get to know him better, you know? Leaving the paintbrush in the grass, Lena closes her eyes and puts her fingers to the side of her head like she did back in tennis. She must do that for at least a minute while I just keep working on my painting. It looks more like Lena than my last one looked like the painting instructor, but I already know her wings are gonna give me trouble.
Okay, got it. I need you to do me a favor.
What is it?
Are we gonna be her wing woman?
When we change partners again, I need you to go partner up with Cyrus, and then you can ask him what he thinks about me. Don't just straight up ask him though, that'd be too obvious. Try to see if you can get him to say it without saying it.
Gosh, Lena talks so fast.
Say it without saying it?
Yeah, you know, like,
She makes a few gestures that remind me of charades, but I have no idea what she's trying to say.
Okay, I'll try.
Thanks, I owe you one.
I'm not even motivated by that, because it's not like she'll remember long enough for me to ever cash it in. I just want to see what happens.
All right, new partners. This'll be the last time.
Here, this is my painting of you. It's better than the last one.
It still isn't great, but I like the way some parts of it turned out.
Ooh, I look great.
Well, I'm glad you like it. Looking down at her own canvas, Lena frowns.
I, kind of forgot to paint you.
What? I'm insulted.
So, I guess I owe you two things.
That's fine.
Cool. Okay, hurry, before someone else takes him.
Hey, Cyrus, how's it going? Welcome to Cyrus as fast as I can without being self-conscious about it. Fortunately, he was distracted with something himself, so he's still on his own.
Hey, wanna be partners?
All right. I'm sure it's a total coincidence you were just talking with Lena, right?
Yeah! Here's a total coincidence. Totally.
Not at all.
I appreciate the honesty. Anyway, let's get started.
Alright, let's both of us set up our canvases. I feel a little bit more in my comfort zone painting Cyrus. At the same time, I try to think of how to do what Lena asked.
Hey, can you do me a favor?
Oh no, he's not gonna tell us that he doesn't like her and to let her off easy, is he?
Uh-oh. I mean, what is it?
Wow. Totally, playing it cool there, Miho.
There's something that I want to ask Lena, but I don't know how she'll take it.
Oh, that's good. That's good, guys.
We've known each other for a bit, but that's why I'm worried. I mean, I kind of know her feelings, but not that well.
Okay, okay.
So, and maybe don't ask her this outright. Maybe you can try to see how she feels by, like...
Oh my gosh, they're both asking me to do the same thing. Please just tell this poor man, Miho. He makes some vague hand gesture that eventually turns into a shrug. They're both playing charades.
Well, you know what I mean.
No, I don't.
Anyway, what I want to know is...
No! 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 No.
Alright, that's it. Time to show 'em off.
That was too short. The conversation was like 2 minutes. I rubbed my ears to recover from the sound before waiting for Cyrus to continue.
Actually, never mind. It was dumb anyway. Here's what I made. Ta-da!
I am so frustrated right now. So frustrated. Cyrus spins his canvas around to reveal.
Oh, phew.
Can't help but breathe a sigh of relief. He's just as bad at painting as I am. Show him my equally unimpressive work. It's messy and scattered.
Nice job. You really captured the way I feel inside.
Wow. Gosh, Cyrus is so, like, emo. He just, like, has this downer personality. He's just like, whatever. Want to press on what he was going to say, but this is the second time he's almost asked me about Lena and then changed his mind. Before I can ask, though, Lena herself comes hurrying over, carrying her canvas. She walks up and shoves it into Cyrus's hands before he can even react.
I made this for you so you'd have it. Okay, bye!
Can somebody grab out a dictionary and see if you can find this word in there? Because there's literally no spacing. I made this for you so you can have it. Okay, bye. Immediately she zips off back the way she came. Please, Miho, please tell this poor man. That was a really long He holds the portrait out at arm's length. Before he can see it, I move behind him and get a good view as well. Just like Lena's picture of the swan, her picture of Cyrus is really good. It shows him looking thoughtful as he works on his own painting, biting his lips in concentration. So she was supposed to be sketching her partner, or painting her partner, and she painted him. There's a lot of detail in his eyes and face, and on the leafy vein that runs up his neck.
Whoa. This is...
Really good?
Yeah.
Two of us look around to see if we can find Lena, but she's nowhere to be seen. She must have left right away, or she's hiding somewhere.
What was it you wanted me to ask her?
Yes, please. I want to know. Cyrus just shakes his head, soaking the paint.
It's fine. I need to ask her myself.
Yes, he's being a man. I like it. Let's do it. All of us, minus Lena, help the instructor clean up everything, and with some people taking home their portraits and others tossing them. Oh, how rude. At least toss it where the instructor can't see. I feel like that's disrespectful, you know? It's like, this is clearly like a free class, and I don't know, I just feel like that's wasteful to throw away that. Cyrus and I say goodbye to each other, but we never talk anymore about Lena. Still, even if it's been a while before we hang out again, I have a feeling I haven't heard the last of this. I know, that was so freaking good! They're so close. Next time, it's gonna be it. I promise. Okay. I went here last time, and I don't remember if we even saw them. I could go to the waterfront. I mean, should we meet the fisherman guy? I don't know. Alright, let's go to Cuba Street. Looking for something to do, I head to Cuba Street to walk around. I don't go shopping very often, but I pretty much have everything I can need at the library, but I do like looking around. Oh, did we meet him? I don't know, we went to the park. That was the last time we saw him. We met the dad, who I was like, wow, the dad looks like he's like 16, you know? 13. Looks pretty young. While I wander, I notice two people that I sort of recognize sitting at a table together. Tommy's parents. Last time the dad introduced himself as Elijah, although I recognized his mom, I never heard her name. The two of them are sitting across from each other, and his mom has her face in her hands. Elijah looks kind of upset, but stays at the side of the table. Tommy and Jerby don't seem to be around. I'm still trying to understand. Are they divorced? Is that what's going on? Or are they just, I don't know, maybe having marriage issues? No idea. My curiosity gets the better of me, and I sit down close by where I can hear what they're talking about.
Gwen, we're still on the same side here. Tommy's side, right?
I know. It's just... it's a lot, okay?
Yeah. But, we knew it wasn't going to be easy.
At least we were right about that.
Gwen pats her pockets looking around, and Elijah pulls out a packet of tissues from his own pocket. He offers them to her, and she takes one and blows her nose.
What are we supposed to tell his teacher? This is the third time he's gotten in a fight this month.
Okay, I mean, it sounds like they're still together. I talk about Tommy. I can't picture him in a fight. He's way too small. What would they even be fighting about?
Yeah. Did they say if he won or not?
Elijah is such a dude.
Elijah!
Sorry. Why don't you talk to the school and let them know that we're dealing with it? And I can talk to T when he's back from your place next time.
Okay, so they are separated. Okay. I don't know, I thought they were, and then it sounds like they are. I'm just lost. Okay, I'm pretty sure they're not together anymore.
Fine. Maybe he'll listen to you better than he'll listen to me.
I don't know. I want to know why is he fighting? That doesn't sound like something Tommy would do at all. He likes to collect bugs, and he just seems like he likes to play around.
Maybe. It's a shame we can't get Gerby to talk to him.
Or anyone.
Alright, I'll talk to him. I know him.
I don't think it's bad for him to have an imaginary friend or anything, but...
Oh, that's right. The other day, Tommy and I ran into someone who was able to see Gerby.
He's talking about me. I scoot a little bit closer on the bench where I'm sitting to make sure I don't miss anything.
Really? Who was it?
You know, I can't remember. I remember them saying it, but I can't picture their face or voice. I wish I'd gotten a name or something.
Okay, so he at least remembers the conversation. He just doesn't remember who the conversation was with. Interesting.
So you don't actually know if they saw him or not. They just said they could.
Well, technically. Maybe you're right. I wish I could think of who it was.
I'm tempted to walk over and tell them that it was me, but I don't know what that would accomplish. I don't have any way to prove what I'm saying that might just make me come off as crazy. I can always sort of follow along with what they're talking about, but it seems like Tommy's having a lot of trouble and neither of them know what to do about it. It's not anything I can give advice on or help with either. Sighing, Gwen checks her watch.
Well, I've got to go pick him up. I'll let you know what the teacher says when I talk to her.
All right. Let me know if you need anything.
Yeah, bye.
Okay, now I need to know why they're divorced, or why they're separated, or what in the world's going on. I don't know, because it seems like they talk just fine. I mean, clearly there's a little bit of uncomfortableness going on there, but it doesn't seem like they hate each other, so I wonder what happened there. They both stand up and it seems like they're not sure how to act. Finally, Gwen gives a stiff wave and walks off down Cuba Street. Elijah sticks around for a bit longer, sighing like Gwen did and running a hand through his hair. Then he leaves in the opposite direction. Humans and their relationships are complicated. I hope I never have to deal with something like that. Yeah, I'm sure you won't. Now that the two of them are gone, there's nothing else going on around here that's very interesting. Alright, we leave. Eventually I get up as well and start walking again and search for the next thing that can entertain me for a while. After having dinner and saying goodnight, I head upstairs and get ready for bed. As I flick off the lights and start to leave the restroom, something in my reflection catches my attention. My bead is glowing slightly. Interesting. Just barely, it's so faint that I can only notice it in the darkness. Removing the necklace, I inspect it more closely. They're warm, not just my magical bead, but the regular ones next to it too. Not as warm as when I use it for my transformation magic, but enough that at hundreds of years of carrying them, I can detect the difference. Not sure what it means. Everything about my magic has always been a mystery to me, really. Some things like transforming I just know how to do instinctively from the beginning. But other than the fact that my bead always comes back to me, no matter where I leave it, I don't know much about it. Huh. I wonder what's going on there. Maybe the bead's gonna like help her get back to the person that she met so long ago that she's trying to find. I don't really know. Maybe like she needs to learn how to become a human and learn how to be happy. You know, this is please be happy. So maybe that'll tie in at some point. Returning to my room, I brush my hair to the side and put the necklace back on. I don't have to wear it when I sleep, but it feels more uncomfortable not having it on, like something's missing. When I climb into bed, I pull the covers up to my chin, like always. Rather than transforming, I just lay there, staring at the ceiling. Tomorrow is my first day of work. Never in a few hundred years had I expected that thought to ever cross my mind. Laying here in the place that I've started to think of as a home, the idea doesn't seem that scary. I'm a bit nervous, but I'm excited too. Maybe I'll be good at it. It'd be nice to be good at something other than thieving. As my eyes begin to get heavy, it occurs to me that I'd have changed into a fox by now, except for the first night when I was too tired. I spent all my nights here in that form. But tomorrow I've been taking another big step into people life. So it feels more inappropriate to stay this way. Excuse me. Rolling onto my side, I face out the window as I let myself succumb to sleep with the gentle warmth of my beads against my neck. The morning of my first day of work. I wake up extra early, at least an hour before Aspen will be here. I creep through the house so Juliet can't hear me and slip out the front door. Outside it's wet. I don't know if it's rain or just the morning dew. There's more dark than sunlight still, but I can already see the clouds overhead are gray. Just 2 weeks ago, this would have been a cause for concern. Now it's barely worth thinking about. I have somewhere warm to go back to. Start walking, taking a familiar path. Has it really only been 2 weeks? I feel like I've done more living in the past few days than in all the years before them. Kind of sounds like it, honestly. It just seemed like she hadn't really done anything differently in the hundreds of years. And this is like the first time she's really going out and seeing the world for what it is. Every day, something new. And every evening, something secure. It's a life I could have only ever dreamed about. It scares me how fast I slipped into it. I spent my whole life alone. I devoted my entire existence to keeping it that way, but now, ever since meeting Aspen and Juliet, I'm not sure I like being on my own quite as much. Feels like I'm losing part of myself, my armor, my defense mechanism, like I'm getting weaker, and maybe that's true, but also, maybe that's okay. Maybe it's okay to let myself be a little bit more vulnerable, just a little. There's no one else to be seen on Mount Victoria as I make my way up the path. Instead of going straight to the top, I veer off into the underbush. I just haven't been back to my den since Juliet came and found me. I haven't forgotten the way, though. All the rain since then has done a number on the den. It's barely recognizable, since most of it collapsed into mud. In other words, it hasn't changed much since the last time I was here. Overhead, the birds chirp in the trees. Maybe the ones I fed before.
Morning, birdies. Sorry I don't have anything for you today.
Doesn't stop them from asking. Half-heartedly, I try scooping away some of the mud from the mouth of the den, but more just slides down, erasing my progress. Then one of the walls collapses even more, making things worse.
Well, so much for that.
It's well and truly ruined. That's okay, though. I don't think I'll be coming back here. Just 2 weeks ago, this was all I had. Now it doesn't feel like anything. Maybe that's okay, too. I turn, about to head back to the main path, but then there's this rustle of a branch and something comes out of the bush. She walks confidently for a fox. She trots right out of the bushes and crosses in front of me, then freezes mid-step. Her fur is pure silver except for a patch of black across her face and paws. We lock eyes instinctively. I can feel myself prepare to transform so I can greet her as a fox, but I hesitate. Is this still my place? I'd be lying if I called myself a fox now, at least fully. I relaxed, not having noticed how tense I was. My beads also go cold, although they'd barely started to heat up.
Hi there.
I say it as a person instead, same as when greeting the birds. At the sound of my voice, the fox turns tail and runs. She doesn't give a second thought. 1 second she's there, and the next she's almost out of sight. I can feel a pull in my chest telling me to run after her. I'm sure I could still catch her if I tried. Of course, I don't. I'm not the kind of person who goes chasing after foxes anymore. Instead, I watch her disappear. It doesn't take long, not even the grass rustles behind her. I'm sure I'll still transform into a fox in the future. I love it too much not to, but I have to set some boundaries for myself. Watching her go fills me with a pang of longing, but also confidence. I'm making a choice to live this way, even if I regret it later. At least I thought about it. At least I'm trying. Make my way back up to the trail and up to the top of Mount Victoria. Coming up here never ceases to amaze me. No matter the weather or time of day, the view is always stunning. Right now it's just me and the breeze. I close my eyes and spread my arms out, and letting the wind ripple through my hair and jacket. For a moment, I just let myself go and appreciate how it feels to exist, to be alive and enjoying the breeze. I'm pretty lucky, aren't I? Slowly I open my eyes again, looking out over the city before me. The first time I came up here, I thought it felt kind of small. After all, I could see the whole thing from here. But now it strikes me how big it is, how big and how full. There are more people than there are buildings, and there are plenty of buildings. Humans and fabled, all alive and existing. Up until now, it's been easy for me to forget that people exist, just like I do. They have thoughts and feelings and things that they want, rather than just being problems to solve or obstacles to avoid. Now, I can't help but notice just how alive the world around me is. Even at this early hour, I may be alone up here, but there's plenty of activity down in the city. I fumble around my pockets till I find the right-sized coin and feed into binoculars nearby. I scan over the city looking for anything that I recognize. Finding the fishing spot is easy since all I have to do is follow the coast. The whole pier is already covered in fishermen, which I do plan on going there and meeting the fisherman. I know there is one there. There's a guy that will teach us. From there, I managed to find the Bell House. Its windows are dark and it doesn't stand out much. I wonder if Aspen will be the first one there again today. After the Bell House, I aim the lens at the library. The windows are dark there too, of course, including the window to my room. I pause on that image, just my window, framed in the middle of the lens. From all the way up here, I can spot a tiny little place I can call my own. I stare at it until the shutter clicks and the view goes dark. Just 2 weeks ago, I stood up here and wondered if I'd be better off leaving. I'm glad that I have an answer to that now. I turn around and begin the long walk home. The library is still dark when I get back, but I can hear the low murmur of conversation from the kitchen. As I step through the doorway, I find both Aspen and Julia already seated at the table waiting for me. Breakfast is already cooked too, and there's a lot more food than usual.
Ah, Miho, welcome back.
There you are! We were wondering where you'd gone off to.
Morning! Just went out for a walk. Sorry if you thought I ran away again.
Aspen shakes her head, pouring herself a cup of coffee as I sit down.
The thought crossed my mind, but I didn't really believe it. You've got a big day today, right?
You can say that again. Went on my walk just to clear my head.
I hope you're excited too. I'm happy for you, even if I am a teensy bit jealous.
Aspen spoons a tiny scoop of sugar into her coffee and stirs it. Gosh, just getting flashbacks to the last episode as she just pops the thing of sugar in her mouth. She doesn't even put it in her tea. Wait, is that how you're supposed to do it? She just finally realized. I'll have to remember in case Julia ever makes me drink tea again.
A teensy bit of jealousy is a good motivator to work even harder myself.
Actually, about that,
Juliet, you had better not be about to offer me a job.
rather the opposite. I have a favor to ask. Just for today, do you think you could assist Miho as she gets her bearings? It's getting near my bedtime, and while I'm sure Miho would be able to handle herself, I imagine a helping hand would make things easier.
I mean, I won't mind an excuse to hang out with Aspen more.
That is, assuming Miho doesn't mind.
Of course not.
Both of us look at Aspen expectantly. She bites her lip and tries to hide her smile behind her cup of coffee as she takes a sip.
Well, I suppose I could spare the time.
Oh, could you now?
Great. But what about the Bell House? You didn't get fired, did you?
They'd go out of business the day they fire me, and they know that.
Wow,
But
confidence.
I enjoy how that's your first assumption. No, I simply swapped shifts with someone, so I don't have to go in until later.
Wow, that's convenient.
And much to our benefit. Thank you, Aspen.
Don't mention it.
Then, shall we turn our attention to breakfast instead?
Oh, I thought you'd never ask.
Yeah, she went for that morning walk all around town, so I'm sure she got plenty of exercise. That builds up an appetite for sure. There's the usual eggs and toast and fruit, but there are also pancakes and hash browns too. Yes. Now we're talking.
You really went all out, huh?
I felt today merited a bit of a celebration. Of you, and the start of another chapter of your life.
Aw, thanks. It's really all because of you two, though. I'm just...
Oh, quit saying that. You need to give yourself more credit, Miho. We can only try to help show you the path. You're the one who has to follow it.
Whoa, who wrote that?
Nobody. I do occasionally have my own thoughts, you know. Anyway, just accept the compliment and let's eat.
I don't know, this face always looks like she's very, like, confrontational. She's like, you know, sometimes I can be smart. Sometimes I can come up with my own things. It doesn't have to be out of a book. It's not my entire personality. But she's ready to just blow up on Miho.
Fine.
We all fill our plates and start to eat. Breakfast is is as delicious as always. The pancakes are still warm and dripping with melted butter and syrup, and the hash browns are nice and crispy.
How is it?
I love hash browns for breakfast.
Great! I've never had hash browns that weren't soggy before.
I mean, I don't like them too crispy. I don't like them when they're crunchy. I like where they're kind of still soft, but they do maybe have a little bit of crispiness, I guess. Sometimes that's because they were leftovers I scavenged, but sometimes even when they're fresh.
I'll be sure to remember you like them this way. Oh, and the pancakes you made are delightful, Aspen.
You made these?
Don't sound so shocked. I have to do a lot of baking and prep work at the Bell House.
Gosh, I feel bad. I feel like we're just constantly pissing off Aspen. Like, okay, I can come up with my own thoughts. I know how to cook. You know, I have to do some baking at the Bell House. I'll have you know.
They're really, really good.
So tired of dealing with us already.
Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying them.
As tasty as these are, there ends up being more food than I can eat. I force myself to finish the pancakes even though I'm full by the time I'm halfway done with them, because I don't want Aspen to take it personally, but eventually I have to throw my fork down in defeat.
Did you get enough to eat, Miho?
More than enough. I think I'm set for the rest of the day.
I'm sure you'll feel differently by lunchtime.
And there's no greater compliment to the cooks.
The three of us start to clear away the dishes, and I start to feel a little apprehensive as opening time draws near. I spend enough time in the library to know that I don't need to worry too much, but I can't help but be anxious. There are a lot of little details to remember, not just which books go where and stuff like names and special requests too. I already know I'm not going to be the fastest, since I'll just have to copy words and see which ones match instead of being able to read them. With all the practice and memorization I've done, I'm as ready as I'll ever be. So instead of dwelling on it, I make myself focus on rinsing my dishes, making sure I don't miss any spots. On the other hand, Aspen is positively buzzing with excitement, although I can tell she's trying to hide it. She flits from task to task, straightening things that don't need to be straightened and tidying up parts of the kitchen that aren't dirty. She hums to herself as she goes, sometimes popping it beside me or Juliet. And of course, Juliet herself is the same as ever, calm and stoic. I thought she might be a bit worried about leaving the library in our hands, but considering she leaves it unstaffed most of the time, maybe not. Yeah, I think it's just fine with nobody there. I mean, it's kind of based on a trust system, so you kind of have to exercise trust, you know, if you're going to have that. At the very least, I'm determined not to leave the library anywhere than when nobody's running it. That's a good goal. Finally, we finished all the cleanup and chores.
Thank you for your assistance. Are you two ready?
Yes, whenever.
Yep.
Let's get the two of you set up then.
Juliet leads us to the front desk where there's a fresh stack of checkout sheets and a jar of pens plus the computer for looking things up.
I did a once-over before breakfast to make sure everything was as it should be. I'm sure the two of you know your way around the place by now, and that's really all there is to it. And if you feel the need, don't hesitate to wake me.
Don't worry, we'll be fine. I'm like Cinderella. I intend to live my dreams for the precious few hours that I can.
Okay. That sounds very dramatic for us just kind of watching this very chill library.
Do you have any questions, Miho? Or anything you'd like to go over again?
I'm fine. I've done all the prep I can.
All right then. If the two of you are all set up, then I'll be off to bed. I'll see you in a few hours.
Have a good sleep.
Good night.
With a final wave, Juliet goes upstairs and disappears into her room. But behind the desk, Aspen places her hands on her hips and looks around like a queen surveying her kingdom. That's a good way to describe how I feel about Aspen. She looks like a queen, you know? Just kind of wondering why people question her, you know?
And now we wait.
I take a seat in one of the two chairs and kick my feet back and forth. After pacing around a little bit, Aspen sits down too, twirling a pen between her fingers.
Nervous?
A little bit.
It's understandable. I was nervous on my first day of work too. I'm sure everyone is.
Oh yeah, I always get anxiety about like first days and when I'm doing things that are new.
I just don't want to mess anything up. Especially not on my first day.
Relax, it'll be fine. Not that I think you will, but even if you do make a mistake, that's natural. It's how you get better at things. by doing them wrong until you figure out the right way. There's not much that can really go wrong, either. It's not like at a restaurant where there are customers paying money and with all kinds of different orders. If it takes you some extra time to find a book or put one away, that's no big deal.
Yeah, this is a very chill work environment. I doubt Miho could really mess this up. Unless she, like, lights the books on fire or something. I think she'll be alright.
Yeah, I know you're right, but I still worry. I don't want to do such a bad job that Juliet changes her mind about me or something.
Are you still worried about that? Juliet adores you. You could burn the whole library down and she'd still let you live in the ashes.
Okay, never mind. She literally could light the books on fire, and apparently Juliet wouldn't care.
That'd be closer to what I'm used to, at least.
Right, you and your dramatic backstory.
My what?
Backstory? Life story? Whatever you want to call it. I'm sorry, I shouldn't make light of it.
Oh, it's fine. I don't mind. Just forget that you think it's interesting.
I hope someday you understand why. Maybe you'll hear a story that resonates with you and makes you want to know more, or get to know that person better.
What are you saying, Aspen? She pokes me in the side with her pen. Oh, is she flirting right now? I kind of feel like she is. Maybe a little bit.
Like me, when I met you.
I
Hmm.
guess that makes sense. Like when I talked to you and Juliet.
Juliet, perhaps. Even I don't know much about her life before she came to Welly, and even that is fuzzy.
I love that they call this Welly.
And you?
I know this makes me sound like a hypocrite, but there really isn't much to say about my past.
I don't know if I believe that. I feel like there's
For one thing,
definitely
I don't have nearly as many years as you two.
definitely enough to say. I mean, humans' lives are pretty interesting. Of course we don't live for hundreds of years, but I feel like everybody has something interesting about their life, some unordinary circumstance or something they've achieved that they're proud of.
But also, I had a boring, normal childhood in a boring, normal town. I went to a boring, normal school for a while before I moved out here, hoping for a change of pace. But now I live a boring, normal life, just in a different city.
I'll bet I wouldn't think it's boring. I don't even know what a normal town and normal school are like.
Aspen opens her mouth to say something. Right as she does, the front door opens. Aspen leaps to her feet.
Good morning!
The guest, a red-haired human, looks surprised.
Oh, hello. Wasn't aware there was anyone working this early.
I'm just helping out today. But Miho here is the library's new daytime caretaker.
Hi there.
I wave. I'm not sure if there's anything else I'm supposed to say. Luckily, Aspen seems to have it covered.
Let us know if there's anything we can do to help.
Cool. Congrats, Miho. I'm just here to browse. Thanks, though.
Enjoy!
She gives him a bright smile as he walks in and heads to the books before taking her seat again.
Good job! Thank you. Why don't you greet the next guest?
Do I have to do that for everyone who comes in?
No, but a smile and greeting never hurt. Although we'll have to keep the volume down.
Yeah, I think the first person of the day is fine. There's not gonna be anybody in here reading yet.
Right.
The door opens again and a pair of twin dryads enter. I stand up, my legs feeling just a little shaky.
Hi! Let us know if we can help.
Neither of them speak, but they both smile graciously and nod in acknowledgement as they pass by us.
See? That wasn't so bad, was it?
I mean, you definitely sounded a little bit nervous, a little awkward, but it was a good first attempt.
No, but so far no one's needed any help.
I mean, that's good. It means people are finding what they need.
True. Let's see who we get next.
We don't have to wait long. A breathless man carrying a stack of books staggers his way over to us.
Do you work here? Can you check these in for me? I'm running late as it is. Thanks.
Okay. Before we can even answer, he drops his books on the desk and then hurries back out the door.
I wonder why he was in such a rush.
No clue, but I respect him still taking the time to drop off his returns. Do you want to start writing them down?
Sure.
Taking a deep breath, I grab the top book and a pen. The title isn't too long, fortunately. Slowly, I start copying the letters down. First a curve, then a straight line, then a loop, then an arch.
Hello, welcome.
Straight line, then a loop, then an arch. So that would be like clo. What would the arch be? Like an M? So like clom? I don't know. Didn't even hear the door open this time. As more and more people start to come in, Aspen and I both end up pretty busy. The pile of books that need to be checked in grows fast, and I have to start taking some of them back to the shelves as I go, just to make space. By using a little chart with the alphabet and numbers on it, I'm able to slowly match the labels on each book to their spots on the shelves. As the library gets busier, though, I start making some educated guesses about where certain books belong and putting them with others that look similar. I can fix it later if I have to.
Miho, could you give me a hand, please?
Over at the desk, the line of people has gotten pretty long. I have no idea what these people normally did when there wasn't anyone to help them. I was just thinking the same thing. I'm like, this is ridiculously busy. How is this functioning otherwise? Oh well. It probably just didn't. They probably just kind of left the books there and she got to them later. But shove the rest of the stack I'm carrying into an empty shelf and hurry over to help. After finishing with one guess, she hands me a few handwritten notes with label numbers on them.
Can you go find these? I think one was returned today, so it might not be on the floor yet. Also, these ones were checked out in the wrong name, so they need to be corrected on the sheet. These 3 here are going to be picked up later, but we've been asked to pull them ahead of time, so make sure not to get them mixed up with the others. Okay?
Got it. Maybe.
Yeah, Miho's like, I don't know.
You've got this.
With a little cheer, she goes back to assisting people. I watch for just a moment. She's clearly in her element here. Even with the line growing longer, Aspen doesn't seem to be getting nervous. I can't say the same about myself, though. There's no time to waste. Yeah, I would imagine Aspen's kind of used to long lines with the cafe and having to juggle different orders and things like that. I would imagine she's a little bit more experienced than Miho, who probably isn't even used to talking to people as much, you know? I bounce around the library trying to find the books Aspen wrote down. It takes a while, but I get the instructions mixed up a few times, but eventually I manage to track them all down. When I bring them back to the desk, the stack of returns has gotten almost as tall as I am, so I start checking them in as quickly as I can. Meanwhile, Aspen has moved to the front to give me more space to write and work with.
Alright, let's see.
I grab the top book and start to copy, then the next, and then the one after that. Before long, they all start to blend together, and the letters seem to swirl, move around the page. I thought this was going to be easy, but it's making my brain feel like soup. I'm determined to push through, though, even if it takes me forever, which at this rate, it just might. If Aspen weren't here, I don't know what I would do, or what I'll even do tomorrow on my own. I can worry about that later, though. For now, I'll have to keep doing the best I can. Book after book, line after line, guest after guest, it gets easier as the day goes on, but I wouldn't say it gets easy. But as when I keep going, eventually we do start to get things under control and keep the chaos to a minimum. It's tough work, but not too tough. Maybe Aspen was right about something. The more I try, the more I feel like I can do this. Ooh, chapter 3. Okay. Old scars and new friends.
Have a nice day.
Thanks. You too.
The kind old man takes his books under his arm and shuffles out of the library, a whoosh of cool air passing over me as the door opens and shuts.
Finally, time for a break.
I don't know. Sounds like she needs one. With no one else waiting to be helped, I glance around the dozen or so people milling over before plopping myself onto the cushion that Juliet set up for me behind the desk. Who knew that working would be such hard work? Wow, crazy. These past few weeks since I started helping out the library have been a bit of a blur. There's always so much to do. At least most of it's pretty easy, like straightening out furniture or putting things away when they get left out. I don't know what the big deal is. I think it looks better when it's a little bit messy, but it's what Julia asked me to do, so I do it. Talking to patrons, Aspen taught me that word. It's getting easier as well. First few times someone came up to me for help, I was so nervous I could barely speak. There's so much to remember and still so much to learn. I still don't like talking to people in general, but it feels easier now. I get a little anxious when I see someone walking up to the counter, but it's not too bad. Of course, everyone who comes up thinks it's my first day there. Even though I started to recognize some of the regulars, they never recognize me. Aspen's the only one who comes by every day. What I didn't expect was the hardest part would be checking out books to people. There's a sheet of paper with a bunch of little boxes in them, and I'm supposed to write down the names of each person and the books they're taking. Since I have to copy the letters by hand each time, it takes me a while. Someone has a lot of books or one with really long titles, then it takes me even longer. Sometimes people get a little impatient, but I'm going as fast as I can. Either way, it makes the days go by faster. I wouldn't really call it fun, but I don't hate it either. Having a bit of money that I earned rather than stole feels surprisingly good too. At least I don't have to worry about someone trying to take it back. Yeah, it is always better to like have money you earned. You always feel better about it. You're like, hey, this is mine. I worked hard for this and I earned that. You know, and you feel like you can really use on whatever you want. But in reality, most people probably just have to use it for rent and food, you know, necessities. I hear the front door open again. I look up to greet the new person, like Julia taught me. Turns out to be a familiar face. My nerves settling a little
Hey, Miho.
I swear, I can talk today. Settling a little as the sight of her. I'm just wondering if that's not a correct sentence. I'm assuming it's supposed to be a little at the sight of her.
Hi, Aspen.
Oops, sometimes I forget I'm not supposed to be loud here.
Hi, Aspen.
Good job, Ian. I say it again, but quieter. She comes up to my desk and sets down a couple of books that she just checked out a few days ago.
Whoa. Done already?
One of them I simply couldn't put down because I had to know how the story ends.
That's me when I get close to finishing a visual novel. Like, sometimes I'll just, like, play for a few hours to really, like, finish it out. Even though I generally... with this series, I played for longer, right? Generally, I only like to play maybe an hour at a time. I feel like that's where I keep my focus the most. So I feel like if I go over that, you know, I just kind of start thinking about other things and kind of wander off. I get tired. Mostly because I have to record these. I feel like I'm thinking more about it and I'm having to pay more attention. And I still forget things all the time, even though I'm putting so much focus on it.
I was worried it would have a sad conclusion, but the ghost girl becomes real and gets to stay with her girlfriend, and they all live happily ever after.
Well, there we go.
The other book was unreadable, unfortunately. I won't be trying that author again.
That's too bad. Should I tell Julia we can get rid of this one?
Well, it's not that terrible. I'm sure someone out there could enjoy it, just not me.
Yeah, that's exactly why there is so many genres and different, you know, authors, right? Like, there's people who enjoy some things over another.
If you say so.
Seems to me like if Aspen doesn't like a book, that book must be really, really bad. Maybe I'll ask Juliet about it later anyways. For now, though, I start copying the titles down into the return sheet while Aspen goes off to find new books. Comes right back as I'm finishing up with a small stack in her hands.
You find books as fast as you finish them.
If only. I knew exactly what I was looking for this time.
She hands me the pile and I begin writing the names down. I can feel her watching me as my hands make each slow line.
Say, Miho.
I have to finish the letter I'm working on before I can pay attention to Aspen.
Yeah?
Have you,
She wrings her hands looking like she's not sure to ask her question. Aspen seems to think a lot before she speaks, so I've learned that sometimes it's easier just to make her spit it out.
Just say it. I don't mind.
I wonder if she's gonna ask if she's considered, like, actually learning the language. Sure enough, her eyes widen when she stops fidgeting.
Have you ever considered learning to read and write? It would probably save you quite a bit of time.
Yeah, and I feel like that's something she could probably practice, you know, in between patrons, as they like to call them. I feel like that's something she could learn. I'm sure there's a book here that maybe it can help her learn to write, you know? But she'll probably need some practice sheets. Definitely don't write in a book from the library. I feel like that's a terrible idea. I look down at the mess of scribbles on the paper in front of me. Even though I wrote them, they don't mean anything to me. Juliet never seems to have an issue, though, so it's good for me.
Not really. I've gotten by fine without it so far.
Oh, come on. You can't keep using that excuse for everything. You've been here for more than a month now.
Like I said, Aspen's more the motherly character. She's like, hey, I've gotten comfortable with you, so I'm gonna tell you how it is. You need to learn how to write and read.
Well...
She does have a point there. I told myself so many times I was going to stop letting my past define me, but still, reading and writing? It would be useful, it's true. With so many letters, though, it seems like a lot of work, and I'm still doing a lot of work as it is.
I don't even know how to start doing that.
I mean, you kind of already have. I mean, you have to write down all the characters already.
I'd be happy to help you, and I'm sure Juliet would too. She'd be delighted if you picked it up.
Her usually quiet voice starts to raise, only adding to my doubts.
I'll think about it, I guess.
No, I won't take no for an answer.
Okay, bossy.
I'll do some research when I get home and bring some materials later. We can make a lesson plan and a schedule and...
Whoa. Don't I get any say in this?
You didn't say no, and that's enough for me.
Well, you wouldn't let us say no even if we wanted to.
Oh, but that isn't what I came here to talk to you about.
Aren't you here to get books?
Right, that too. But anyway...
Aspen reaches into her purse and pulls out a slightly crumpled flyer, which she hands to me. Looking at the glossy cover, it's covered in pictures of little vases and statues, and other old-looking things.
There's an exhibition at Te Papa about Korean history and culture, for a limited time only.
Oh, interesting. I don't know what Te Papa is, but... thought she might be interested in seeing it. I don't know why there's no voice.
An exhibit at your dad?
No, it's our biggest museum. Te Papa is one of the most interesting places in Wellington, perhaps even New Zealand as a whole. You can enter for free, so that isn't a concern. Look, there's even a map of how to get there on the back.
As I flip the flyer over, she points to a map of Wellington. It's very similar to the one I used on my first day here.
This is the Bell House, so you just go up this road, turn here, then here.
I nod as she explains, but isn't really necessary. I may not be able to read, but I can at least use a map.
Anyway, it's only open when I'm at work, so I won't be able to join you. But I imagine you might appreciate having some time to yourself too.
Now that you mention it... yeah...
It's been a long time since I've really had a moment to myself. Other than when I go to bed, I'm always around Aspen or Juliet, or the patrons at the library. It's another big change in me. I've been noticing them more and more these days.
I'll check it out. Thanks. Maybe they'll have something that can help me find my person.
Yeah, that would be nice. Aspen smiles. It's a thin smile, like she's once again holding back from saying something. This time, however, she doesn't give me a chance to make her say it.
Perhaps, yes. Right, well, I need to get back to work. My break will be over soon. I just wanted to pick these up so I have something to read during any downtime at my shift. I'll see you this evening after I look up some reading resources. Tell Juliet I said hello.
Will do. Bye!
With a smile, Aspen blows a kiss, then quickly spins around and heads out the door, leaving me standing about with the flyer in my hands. She's blowing a kiss. Is that what she normally does? Now any patrons are waiting around, I take a closer look at some of the artifacts on the page. Most are cracked and worn with age, but still have a little color to them. A couple have writing on them that I can tell is a different language than the one I've been getting used to copying here. In a way, they seem kind of familiar. Not just familiar, but nostalgic. Like they're related to a memory that's just out of reach. I don't know if it'll bring me any answers, but maybe there'll be something interesting to see.
Hiya, I've got these to check out, please.
I quickly tuck the pamphlet into one of my pockets, starting to greet the young boy eagerly waiting at the counter with several books to check out.
You got it!
I lift the first book off the stack, slowly beginning my process. Maybe Aspen's lessons won't be so bad after all. Yeah, I think she'll definitely benefit from learning how to write, so she can just look at it and be like, oh, that's what it is. Closing time finally comes around, the patrons slowly trickling out. Some of them linger for a while, making their final selections before bringing them up to the counter. Fortunately, Juliet's here to help me, or I'd take all night to get through the line of people waiting.
Thank you very much, Miss Callahan. We'll see you next time. Oh, Dottie. Glad to see you're still reading Pullman. Only one left to go in the series. Bye-bye, Abdul. Bye-bye, Jamar.
Wow, she really, knows everybody. In the time it takes me to finish writing down one person's checkouts, Juliet can get through 5. She even knows everyone by name as well as their reading habits. That always impresses me. How does she keep track of them all? We managed to get through everyone. Sigh of relief escaping as the last patron heads out.
Oh, thank you.
My ears prick up at the sound of Aspen's voice as the patron holds the door open for her.
Sorry, we're closed.
Ha! You tell him. Aspen hesitates for a moment as she walks up to the desk, but then she laughs.
You almost had me for a moment.
I collapse onto my cushion while Juliet puts everything away under the desk.
Excellent work today, Miho. You're getting better and better.
Am I? It doesn't really feel like it.
It can be hard to notice your own progress sometimes, but I promise it's there.
And it's only going to get better. Look what I brought.
She wraps her knuckles against the pile of thin books she brought with her. There's also a small bag that rattles when she moves it.
Are those?
Yes, they're the phonic books I said I'd bring by.
Phonics? Why, Miho, have you decided to learn to read?
Well, Aspen decided for me, but I guess so.
Yeah, true. I pick up one of the books from Aspen's pile. The words on it are big and written in a very simple style, so are the pictures that go along with it. I spent enough time in the library now to recognize that these kinds of books are meant for little kids. But I guess that's what I need, isn't it? It's embarrassing, but maybe I can just use that as motivation to learn faster, and if I end up hating it, I can just quit. Like always, I have the option of running away from something I don't like. Still, holding the book, I look up to see Juliet and Aspen both watching me, waiting to see what I'll say, take a deep breath, and then smile.
So, how do I start?
Both of them break into a grin as well.
I have just the thing. Come with me.
Yeah, it's very interesting trying to learn how to read, you know, a language you've spoken. You know, as a kid, you just kind of learn that all together, I feel like, or at least you learn how to speak, and then you kind of mix reading in there, but you would probably ideally have already started doing that, right? I feel like that's kind of what I do with my daughter. I mean, I try to read to her a little bit, not as much as I should, but I try to get her used to the words at least. Aspen's so eager that she barely waits for Juliet, and I step out from the counter before leading us to a table beside the aisle of books. Guessing they'll be here for a while, I pull up a seat while a curious Juliet hovers over my shoulder. She sits down and begins unpacking the bag she brought onto the table, turning out to be a bunch of pens and pencils. She hands me one before placing a small workbook in front of me.
Let's start with the alphabet. Juliet, would you mind? Your handwriting is much better than mine.
Gladly.
Realizing she's going to be a part of this, she quickly takes a seat to my other side and selects a sleek black pen. Opening the book, she brings her pen to one of the blank lines.
So, to begin with, this is the letter A.
The two of them take turns going through the different letters of the alphabet and showing me how to write them. Although I have a hard time remembering which is which, I pick up the writing part pretty fast since I've had a lot of experience at work already. Each of them writes an example letter at the top of my paper first before I take my turn to try it. Juliet's handwriting is very precise and clean. It reminds me of something you'd see on an advertisement or book. Aspen's, on the other hand, is almost as messy as mine. Sometimes I'm not sure if she's even writing the same letters as Juliet and I. As we get through the whole alphabet, they quiz me by holding up cards of different letters and asking me to name them. I get a lot of them wrong, but I do a lot of them right, too. When Aspen finally calls it quits for the night, I'm a little bit disappointed.
So, how do you feel? I think you made very good progress for this being your first night.
Indeed. You should be proud of yourself, Miho.
I can't keep a little smile off my face. Maybe I'm a little proud.
It was more fun than I thought it'd be. It was tough at first, but I think I'm getting the hang of it.
You certainly are.
Yes, if you work on it a little bit each night, I'm sure you'll make great progress.
The workbooks that Aspen gave me already have a few pages complete because of how fast we were
Do
going.
you think I could learn to read by the end of this week?
I think you could probably read simple sentences. The two of them exchange. The look that the two of them exchange tells me my answer.
Well,
Not that quickly, I'm afraid. Even for the fastest learners, it still takes a few months to make much progress in reading. Going by how quickly you picked this much up, though, I think you'll do just fine.
Oh, I see.
I don't know. I think she should be able to learn it rather quickly. They expected this to take a few nights at most, but months, that's a lot longer than it's anticipating. You must look disappointed because Aspen frowns and leans forward.
Don't worry, I'm sure that time will fly by. As long as you're getting a little better every day, you'll be able to notice the results soon.
Yeah, I definitely think like working with books and having to write them down, this is going to get a lot easier and it's going to go pretty quickly because she's going to have like individual practice and then she's going to be kind of practicing what she learned throughout the day. So I think it's really going to stick with her pretty well.
Here, why don't you try this?
Aspen gets up from the desk and maneuvers behind me, putting her hand on top of mine. It's a little shaky, but I notice her face is red as she makes a point not to look at me. Interesting. Aspen definitely seems like she's developing a crush on us. I'm kind of getting that impression. She really goes out of her way to like make sure that she spends time with us and gets to know us better, and help us in any way she can. Juliet, on the other hand, I think is just kind of nice to everybody. It's kind of hard to tell like if she's developing anything stronger than just a friendship with Miho. I think Aspen's going to be the easier one to kind of build a relationship with that's more than friends. I think Juliet is going to be interesting. We're going to have to really like learn a lot about her and how to maybe appeal to her interest. I almost to get out of the way out of instinct, but keep my cool instead. I'm not used to people touching me, but I know with Aspen it's just a friendly gesture. Sure.
Here, follow these lines.
I have a feeling Juliet's gonna pick up on what's going on with Aspen. Miho, on the other hand, I don't think really recognizes anything. I don't think she will for maybe a little bit. Maybe as we see Lena and Cyrus grow, we'll kind of like connect the dots, you know? She gently guides my hand up and down across the paper, slowly forming the letters on the page with me. After 4 letters, she stops and scurries back to her chair. Juliet snorts in amusement from my side only confuses me further.
Can you read what that says?
Oh, maybe Juliet's picked up on it already, I don't know. Was that just from laughing at her doing that? Or just maybe she notices something? I look down, the word on the page looks familiar. I squeeze my eyes shut, picturing the cards they were holding up and what each letter sounded like.
Miho!
Yep. With a jolt, I realize it's my own name. Julia and Aspen both clap excitedly, a blush forming on my cheeks.
Yes! You did it!
You did it! You did it! Dora. I'm sorry. I still can't shake the feeling that it's kind of embarrassing to have them cheer me on for something so simple. Looking down at the paper with my name on it, though, I have to smile a little too. This is the first time I've written my own name. Even if I did have Aspen's help, it's the first time I've read it myself, too. I stared at it intently, committing the shape of those letters and motions to make them into my memory. I've used so many names in my life, but for some reason this one feels a bit special. Just for good measure, I write it down a few more times to practice. Each time it gets a little bit less shaky and more legible.
Thank you. Seriously.
I don't know. Stuff like this motivates me to like want to learn another language. My thing is I'm terrible at consistency and I'm terrible at memory, which makes learning a language very hard because you really have to be consistent and you really have to start committing things to memory. I just don't have that. I really, really struggle with that. And so it's like I've tried learning Japanese and things like that, and you know, I can remember certain things, but it's fairly hard. I struggle with the alphabet for sure. I'd also like to try learning Spanish. I think learning Spanish would be cool because here in America there's a lot of people that speak Spanish, clearly, and I feel like I just get a lot of use out of it. I'd be able to read things no matter where I live. I just, like I said, it's hard. I don't really have the drive as much as I would like.
It's our pleasure.
Right. Especially since, I did kind of force you into it.
You did a little bit, but that's okay. This is something she needs to learn.
It's okay. Turns out I need people to make me do stuff sometimes.
Gosh, same here.
I'm certainly good at that. You'll have to wait until tomorrow for more, though. I've already stayed a bit too late as it is.
Oh my, I hadn't even noticed the time. It sure did fly by, didn't it?
You know, time flies when you're having fun. Which was good. As she gets up to leave, Juliet and I take to our feet as well, before realizing it, I let out a yawn.
I'll leave all this stuff with you, Miho, so you can study at your own pace. I'll try to come by at nights as well to help you practice.
And you're always welcome to ask me for advice too.
Gosh, I feel bad making Aspen do stuff like this, though. Because it's like, you already know she's like writing her book, her novel, and she works. She's got a pretty busy life. I mean, she's really trying to do a few things, and I feel bad for taking away from that. But, you know, I feel like she really enjoys hanging around Miho, and I think we're starting to see that she enjoys it a little bit more than just being a friend. I'm getting that impression, so we'll have to see about that.
Thanks. I'm gonna practice during work too, when I don't have anything else to do.
It should be pretty easy. I mean, you're working with books, so you can start identifying, oh, that's what I learned about. I learned about this letter, and you can start putting them together, seeing if you can make something.
That sounds wonderful. Good night, you two. Thanks for having me over.
Bye, Aspen!
Good night, Aspen. We'll see you soon.
All right. With her trademark smile and wave, Aspen leaves the library. The two of us watch her go as she heads out into the night's darkness outside.
I imagine you must be tired too, right?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I really am.
My hands are sore from all the writing. My palm is colored gray with smeared pencil, lead, and ink.
Can't believe that wore me out.
You had a full day of work too. You should get some rest. I'll finish cleaning up and preparing for tomorrow.
Are you sure? I didn't really do many of my chores today.
I'm certain. Go on, go to bed.
Secretly glad to be heading to bed rather than doing more work, I start to head out. As I look back, Juliet playfully waves me out of the room.
Good night. And thanks again.
You're always welcome, Miho. Have a good night.
With a pause for another yawn, I stretch out and head upstairs. I'm gonna sleep well tonight. I would imagine she will. As I lie in bed and wait for sleep to take me, I reflect on my day, like always. Today was a good day. I accomplished a lot and feel proud of myself, and I can tell that Julia and Aspen are proud of me too. That's taken some getting used to. It still feels weird to me to think that people care about me, that they even think of me when I'm not around them. They're excited for me about things that don't affect them. It's weird, but in a good way. Now that I think about it, it's been a while since I had a bad day. The shock and uneasiness of having a safe place to live and a stable life have worn off. My daily routine has become just that, routine. Never thought I'd get used to things like this, that they'd never be real for me. Well, it turns out I was wrong. Rather than constantly overthink everything, I've gotten better at just going with the flow. I think that's something to be proud of too. Rolling onto my side, I look around my room. It hasn't changed too much since I moved in, but it still feels distinctly mine. This isn't just a space that I happen to be in. Smiling, I close my eyes and roll into my other side. Just when did I become so sentimental? It's hard to say, but maybe that's okay too. I don't mind who I am right now, and my friends don't either. That's enough for me. With peaceful thoughts like that drifting through my mind, I also drift to sleep. Alright, I think we're going to end this here. I think this is a good spot to stop. We made it to chapter 3, and we've gotten to really see Miho working, and she's starting to achieve her goal of becoming more human, you know? I think she's really starting to see things in a different way. She's starting to understand more about the city and like why people are happy and what makes them happy. We really got to see that scene of her looking over the city and her kind of reflecting about how it used to look so small, you know? Like when you're looking at it from far, it's like, oh, this thing's tiny, you know, I can walk from here to here right away. But now she's starting to see, hey, there's a lot more going on in here than I thought. There's a lot more people that are just living their lives and living interesting lives. There's things in their lives that make it fun and make it worth living. And I think for Miho, she's starting to finally understand what makes her happy. And I think her relationship with Aspen is growing. I think we kind of saw that there. I think she's starting to like blush when she's around her. She's becoming more aware of her. I don't know. Maybe there's something blooming there. I think maybe we'll see something like that happen, but I'm not sure. I don't really know how we transition into the routes. If there's gonna be decisions, or if like maybe my little events during the day do something. I'm not sure. But I think we'll slowly start to see a relationship growing here. And I'm excited about Lena and Cyrus. We're seeing that getting pretty close to something happening. I'm hoping next episode we'll get to see maybe a confession. That would be nice. It almost happened this episode, but not quite. So I'll end it here. I think this has been a good episode, a little bit shorter. I know I keep making these shorter and shorter, but I'm generally only trying to do an hour. So I'll definitely be continuing this series, though. You'll see more of this soon, I promise. So anyways, guys, I'll leave it here, and I shall see you in the next one.